Yo people, wagwan, welcome back to RonsTechHub. And in this one I'm going to be looking at a game that came out 1st of April 2021. It's called Outriders. Yes, I know I'm a bit late again. However, I took my time. I tried to play the game the right way, but let me just give you guys an insight as to what happened throughout this whole process. Okay, so first things first. This game was developed by a company called People Can Fly. It was published by Square Enix and it was released, as I said before, the 1st of April 2021. It is a third-person action role-playing game, and this kind of threw me off initially. Now, spoiler alert, I was playing this game as a purely action third-person game, like a Gears of War. Run in, get a gun, shoot everything, get to your checkpoint, mission done. This is not how you should play this game. So for anyone who hasn't started the game yet, do not play it this way. Play this game like an RPG where you grind at side missions, where you upgrade stuff, where you get loot, where you sell your loot or you dismantle your loot. I highly recommend dismantling loot because that's what's going to help you later on in the game as well. Brief intro aside, I'm going to just talk about the good and the bad, the things I found good, things I found bad about the game. One of the first things that hit me straight away that was bad about the game was how crap the map was. Now, in my opinion, maps have been good for a very, very long time. So to have a map that's this bad was surprising, and it stood out for me because quests or side missions are spread out across a region. So when you go to a new region, you have a map for that region, right? And things are spread out. Now, normally you can highlight an area on your map and you can have a map rotate. The map was just really rubbish. There's no amount of description could explain how bad it was. Yes, you can track quests, but the game was buggy as well. So when you track a quest and you have your locator beacon thing try to take you there, sometimes it takes you to a location where you cannot actually proceed anymore because the game is bugged. Now, I think this could have been an easy fix if they just made the map a bit more dynamic, made the map a bit more futuristic. It felt like one of those early 2000 maps where the map is static, it doesn't rotate, you can't really highlight stuff, you can't get to that location really easily, but you just had to stick through with it because it is a good game. It is an okay game, but there are tiny things here and there that make it not so great. Another thing that I think really let this game down was the actual story. So I know the story is about a signal. I know my guy had his abilities given to him because of an anomaly storm. I know I spent roughly 30 years in a cryopod. I know nothing else. I mean, after 30 hours of gameplay, after getting to World Tier 12 now, I know very little about the story. I didn't really watch the cutscenes, to be fair, because the first 10 or 15 I watched were so bad. The shaky camera, the rubbish dialogue, everything just didn't come together well. Now, this game had so much potential in terms of even story. This could have been one of those games where the story continued even after the game, even after this one, right? You could have had an Outriders 2 because the online component of this game being crossplay, as in PS5 and Xbox could play together and PC as well, that was a really amazing feature that was just there as standard, right? Now, I think, yeah, as I said, the story really let it down. The characters weren't engaging. My guy was very bland in the way he spoke. The other characters around weren't interesting at all. I think it's only towards the end of the game where you see any sort of emotion come out. And I think one of the stories or the side missions that actually was better than the story was this one called The Wanderer, where you met this really old, altered guy who was losing his mind, losing his powers, I believe. And that just felt a lot more impactful than the stuff that we were playing in the actual story. Another negative again, another one about this game. The graphics. To me, this looked like early Xbox One graphics when they were just getting to grips with the newest version of Unreal Engine, plus the new version of the Xbox. It didn't strike me as a current gen or a next gen thing. Now, I played this on two consoles. On the Xbox One X is where I started, and I finished on the Xbox Series X. Now on the One X it runs at 1080-30, well that's what these videos were recorded at, and on the Series X they recorded at 1080-60 as standard. I didn't even notice the shift because to me the game was just, it felt like a slightly sluggish game. Graphics, the cutscenes look amazing. Don't get me wrong, the cutscenes look perfectly fine. But it's when you get into the actual gameplay, into the actual world of the game, where things just look really blocky in some areas. Characters don't look nice. There is this, for one time I saw one character called Tiago. He's a member of your camp group, and he looked like a person from an Xbox 360 game. That's how bad he looked. It was horrible. But that's all I'm going to say about graphics. They could have done a much better job on the graphics. And I do stress that this game is cross-platform. This game does run at 60 frames on the Series X. So let's see what they do in the future. I mean, I think the game is almost dead now because when I checked the concurrent online players, it was like 2,000 people playing online. Unless they come with a massive update that overhauls the game massively, I don't see how they're going to get numbers back up. When I played this game back in early April, this game was like an ant farm. It was just full of bugs. Every half an hour, there would be some glitch. When I was playing by myself or with my friends, it was a case where we would have a crash, like a full-on game crash. Everyone would be kicked out of the game about once an hour. And it got so bad that many of us just stopped playing the game outright. And then we came back when it had updates early June, July time. There were too many bugs. I think a launch game like this, now, I mean, I had mine on Game Pass, right? So I'm paying for Game Pass. I'm paying whatever that costs. People are on PlayStation, they're paying the full £60 or full $70 for a game, and it crashes every hour on the hour. That's not a good look for Square Enix. And these are the people that brought us Just Cause. That's one of my favorite games of all time. That's one of my favorite open world series of all times. Just like I love GTA, I love Just Cause as well. Just Cause mechanics are really good. This game, again, could have been so much more. But let's continue. I think I've ripped into this game enough, and it's probably now time for me to give you some good aspects or good features about this game. Now, I think it has very solid gameplay, good shooting mechanics, good cover mechanics. Always found myself saying, this is really like Gears of War, but you move a bit quicker, whereas I think Gears of War, you feel a bit sluggish, you feel a bit heavy. In this game, you feel a lot lighter, you move quicker, you get from behind cover quicker, you shoot better in my opinion. A bit less recoil depending on the gun you're using. It just felt solid when the game actually worked, and while you were moving around and shooting, the powers you had were really good. The fact that you could actually choose a set of powers based on your character. So I was the pyromancer person. I liked the fire nature of that person, so I chose him or her, and it just worked out really well for me. Now I have friends who chose different things and they really like those characters. I like that aspect of the game. They could have built on that a lot more and made this a much wider, more expansive game. It just felt, let me stick to the good. The gameplay was very good. All right, another good thing. I love playing this game with friends. Now, this is one of the games that I really like because cross-platform is just amazing. This is one of the games that this is how I think game companies should move forward. Now, hopefully you guys can hear the excitement in my voice. This generation, which is the PS5, the Series X, the Series S, and obviously PC is still there. This generation, I am hoping and praying that game companies, game publishers, game makers, this is what they choose to do, because this gives them a wider breadth of people wanting to buy the game. I have both the PS5 and the Series X. I prefer playing on my Xbox because the controller is so much better. Mouse and keyboard support is just really nice to get with my Zim Apex. So I play on Xbox for those reasons. I've always had an Xbox. My friends, some of them prefer to play on the PlayStation. Now, that's not an issue if you have a game like this where it's cross-platform, where regardless of where you are, you can play with your friends, you can have fun, once it's not too buggy, obviously. You can all progress as you want to, because even though it was cross-platform, progression was still there for everyone, and it was just amazing. Now, I really hope that this is Square Enix's way of setting the precedence for at least their games that they publish, that moving forward, most things, or hopefully everything, is going to be cross-platform. It was a really nice experience. The only downside to this cross-platform, which wasn't really a downside, it was just a missing feature, was voice chat. Now, I know that voice chat is in Warzone, so that's Call of Duty Warzone. I know that voice chat is in that game, cross-platform, and it works perfectly fine. Whereas in this game, the way we had to communicate, because some of us were on Xbox and some were on PlayStation, we had to just use a WhatsApp call and just have like 5 people in the call. Well, 3 people per game, to be honest. But either way, I think that's a feature that people that do cross-platform should start adding. So I have to say, well done Square Enix, and well done to People Can Fly for making this a possibility. We know it can work. We know that Sony is probably the one blocking this, and they want developers to pay an extra 20k to have it done or something like that, or 200k. Now, a big company like Square Enix, 20k or 200k is chump change. We know that. But for smaller developers who probably want to get their games cross-platform, because let's just be frank, not everyone is going to have an Xbox and not everyone is going to have a PlayStation. So if you create a game that goes on both consoles anyway, you might as well make it cross-platform to improve those sales. And especially if it's an online multiplayer co-op type thing, you might as well, because people are gonna be on different consoles and they will want to play with friends from other consoles. So you capture more of the market, let's say. So spoiler alert for everyone who doesn't know, but the best part of this game actually comes after the main missions, after most of the side quests. It comes in the form of what's known as expeditions. So again, spoiler alert. At the end of the game, when you defeat the final boss and so forth, you get to go search for pods that were fired from the main spaceship. And these are actually really fun. So they're not missions per se. Well, they are, but they aren't, in the sense that there is no story linked to them per se. So you basically get sent into this area where you have to just simply kill everything in the area, retrieve the pods, and depending on how long it takes you, so there's a gold, silver, bronze, so on and so forth, depending on how long it takes you, you get the equivalent amount of loot. So I think if you have like a gold time, you get 80 or more loot items, and a certain percentage of that is going to be rare, popular, for example, right? So this is the best part of the game. This is where I actually had the most fun. It was very challenging. There was no fluff added to it. It was just go there, kill these things, and you have waves and waves and waves of enemies. In some cases, you have up to 300 enemies in just one mission, one area. If you play it by yourself, it does get challenging. If you play it with a team, enemies do take longer to die, but it's just so much more fun. So this, I believe, is the best part of the game. Now, what can they do better next time? They can do quite a few things. They can make the story more engaging. I think they had a really good setup here. They could have done something really amazing with the story, but I don't know if they wanted to play it safe, or this is genuinely the vision that they had, or because of lockdown, this is what they managed to get out of it. But the story just wasn't engaging enough, and that's why so many people fell off. Again, as of the end of July 2021, this game has 2,000 concurrent players. 2,000. And keep in mind, we have however many millions of people on Game Pass that would have gotten this game, not for free, but it comes with Game Pass for the £10 a month or the $10 a month, whatever it is. You get this £60 game on Game Pass, and we still only have 2,000 people. I think that's a testament as to how not good some people found this game. It was a good game in terms of mechanics, in terms of being able to play with people cross-platform, but in terms of story, if it's not engaging enough, and it comes across as a story RPG, but it just wasn't engaging enough. It doesn't explain enough things as well. Thanks to Ramo from Game Room, he was the one who explained most of the stuff to me. Otherwise, I would have been running through this game, getting frustrated, probably uninstalling the game as soon as I finished, because nothing was explained. I was playing it as an action game, run in, shoot everything, run out, mission done, right? But after he explained to me that the abilities you have, you need to match them to your mod gears, you need to upgrade your level, you need to upgrade your guns in this way, that's when I actually started to take the game more seriously. And this was a couple missions before the end game, and if it weren't for him, I would have finished the game not knowing 99% of this stuff, and it would have just been me uninstalling the game as well. So make the story more engaging, explain what people need to do. Not everyone is a big massive RPG fan or have played loads of RPGs before, so explaining would have been good. If someone's playing on normal or easy like me, or just on a generic level, explain stuff. I want to know what I need to do, so I can, even if it's grinding, still let me know what I have to do. The last thing I think they needed to focus on was having more side quests and having those side quests very easy to find. Now, the good thing is you can replay side quests as many times as you want, and this is one of the things I'm actually doing now to try and get to what's known as World Tier 15, which is the highest difficulty in the game, for the story mode anyway. I'm trying to replay side missions to get extra loot, to get extra experience points to move up to that world tier. They need to do more side missions. The map is quite extensive and we have so many different areas, and we normally just do 1 or 2 missions in an area and we never get to explore it. So it would be really good if every region in a game, every subsection or sub-region of that main region has at least one side quest. Go fetch this, go find that, go kill this thing, go retrieve this head, whatever it is. Give us more side missions. It is an RPG after all, and I think that's what people like about RPGs, that grinding nature to try and level up, to try and make a character as strong as possible. That's what we want to see. So do that. I think that's everything I could think of so far for this game. So thank you guys for watching. You know what to do. Well, you know what I always say, just do the thing, do the whole thing. Like, subscribe, comment, share, do the whole thing, right? So, peace.